clouds are definitely coming in now. You can see it drizzling in some areas. Let's see if it holds up. I did get a quick flight in though, just in case it starts pouring later. And with that in mind, what's going on today? Some interesting stuff. How about this first one where it deals with all those problems they had with the 737 MAX airplanes before? And now it sounds like I guess they've been fined. This one says Boeing to pay $200 million to settle SEC charges that it misled investors about the 737 MAX. Former CEO agrees to settle to same charges and pay $1 million. The Securities and Exchange Commission today charged the Boeing company and its former CEO, Dennis A. Muilenburg, with making materially misleading public statements following crashes of Boeing airplanes in 2018 and 2019. The crashes involved Boeing's 737 MAX airplane and a flight control function called the Maneuvering Characteristics Augmentation System. According to the SEC's orders, the first crash, Boeing and Muilenburg knew that the MCAS posed an ongoing airplane safety issue, but nevertheless assured the public that the 737 MAX airplane was, quote, as safe as any airplane that has ever flown the skies. Later, following the second crash, Boeing and Muilenburg assured the public that there were no slips or gaps in the certification process with respects to MCAS, despite being aware of the contrary information. And it basically goes on as there were more examples. It's essentially them treating people as numbers, huh? It says Boeing and Muilenburg put profits over people by misleading investors about the safety of the 737 MAX, all in an effort to rehabilitate Boeing's image following two tragic accidents that resulted in the loss of 346 lives and the incalculable grief to so many families, said Gerbert S. Grewal, director of the SEC's Enforcement Division. But public companies and their executives must provide accurate and complete information when they make disclosures to investors, no matter the circumstance. When they don't, we will hold them accountable, as we did here. It's really unfortunate, and it makes you wonder, can any amount of money make up for all those deaths? Especially in this case, where if the guy's really wealthy, it's like, okay, whatever, it's like $1 million to them, right? At the same time, is the reason for these, I guess, investigations more to do with the fact that it's related to money, like investors and all that, versus, I guess, quote, the safety of actual people? That's a little unfortunate. Just imagine all the other companies in the world that do something similar, but they just never get caught. Our product or whatever, this and that is safe. It goes through rigorous this and that, when in the end, it's just all, I guess, a smokescreen for them to try to sell their products and so forth, huh? Unfortunate, especially when people have to lose their lives over this. In terms of going after criminals, this was kind of interesting to read, where this one talks about how, I guess, the police were going to use a drone around an area to monitor the situations and all that. And just by reading this, it's kind of interesting how they identify, I guess, a potential troublemaker per se. This one says aerial surveillance is going on in suspected localities of the Srinagar, looking for anti-socials, criminals, terrorists, OGWs, etc., using modern drones with high-resolution cameras. These may not be visible from ground, but be assured that life, property of the citizens will be safeguarded. So they even show like a video of them, I guess, flying around the whole neighborhood and all that. Although it is kind of interesting in terms of who you're looking out for, because in general, things like, say, a criminal could look like anybody, correct? And then saying looking for anti-socials, what's that? Just like one guy by himself or something like that? Man, just imagine all the false flags I would imagine. At the same time, with the police flying this, you can see they're just going over literally a bunch of people and all that. Like all of a sudden it's okay to fly this stuff because it's a quote authority figure doing it. That doesn't make sense from a safety point of view, huh? Or at the same time, since this is revolved around quote safety, are people okay because for whatever reason in the area, are they fearing for their lives in terms of danger, so all of a sudden it's okay afterwards? I don't know, but it's just so contradicting in many ways when people say these guys can use it, these guys can, in kind of the same circumstance per se. Although for bigger drones, I guess this was in the news again. It seems like China's flexing themselves in terms of their drones again. This one says what? PLA Air Force unveils armed reconnaissance drones unit in NW China. The Chinese People's Liberation Army Air Force has unveiled one of its armed reconnaissance drones units based in northwest China, which plays an important role in border defense and counter-terrorism, Experts said on Wednesday an armed reconnaissance unmanned aerial vehicle recently carried out a training exercise from a PLA Air Force base in the desert in northwest China, in which the drone practiced reconnaissance and attack in long-endurance flight over thousands of kilometers, China Central Television reported on Tuesday. And there were like a bunch of videos and stuff like that that was posted. Again, lots of propaganda. Is that what you want to say? Is it just, again, with all the war and stuff in the world saying, look at what we have, you better not mess with us? Alright, see you guys later.